Good morning. Time to go live. It is 7:05. Someone sent that to me and I loved it. She said, I love it. I say, oh, it's 7:05. It's time to go live. And I want to thank you for joining me today. We've made it to the end of the week. I don't know about y'all, but this month has really flown by. It is not like, I want to say the whole year has flown by. The first couple of months we're moving kind of slow. But as we get in this last quarter of the year, it really is going very fast. And I hope we're taking the time to breathe it in and enjoy it. We're getting ready to come into the holiday season, which is another reason why this topic is kind of sort of relevant. But really, I want to tell you where this topic came from today. This topic, the epidemic of loneliness, comes from, I had a whole nother show ready to do today. And I saw on the news where the AI generated one of the AI companies has decided that there's going to be an adult AI that, good morning, Miss Gay, love you too, that there's going to be an adult AI that will send you or engage with adult conversation with you and I'm just gonna be blunt, sexual nature. And so I was like, really? We've gotten to this point where, AI is cool, ChatGPT is cool. You can use it to help with some things, but just to have intimate conversations with, it will be as explicit as you want it to. And then yesterday I saw a news report of where leaders in a particular political party had a long text thread where they were commenting about different things in a very misogynistic, racist way. Now, these are leaders. These were people who in their designated fields were leaders, but were engaged in these very homophobic, very racist, very crazy conversations. And when we saw who they looked like, you realize these were people who had very limited social connection, that they had connected to hate because they didn't have a real social connection. Yeah, they are getting ridiculous. They didn't have a real social connection, so they found a community, an online community that validated them. But who validated them were people who really, honestly, if they didn't even like them. They didn't even care for them. But because they were behind a keyboard and because they were socially distant, you would have come across as being someone that this group would have approved of. And it just really made me realize that there is an epidemic of loneliness. People long for connection. So let's get into it. And again, I tried to start a little later. I'm going to have to do better because the people who come and cut the grass always come when I'm online. Okay, so the epidemic of loneliness refers to the widespread and increasing phenomenon of people feeling isolated and disconnected from others. In 2023, even almost 3 years ago, the U.S. Surgeon General declared it a public health crisis, citing both its serious risk to individuals and the overall society health. Loneliness is not simply the same as being alone, but rather it's a distressing feeling that arises when there's a gap between the social connection you have and the ones you desire to have. Because here's the thing, you can be in a room full of people and still be lonely. Has anybody ever experienced that? You're in a room full of people and it's supposed to be this great event, but you're lonely. Because loneliness isn't about being with people. Oh, good morning, Cousin Francis. Thank you for joining me today. Because loneliness isn't about being surrounded with people. Loneliness really is about the lack of social connection of the people in the room. When you don't have a connection to someone that's in the room with you, then you're less likely to, you're going to feel lonely. I'm like, I don't know why I'm here. I don't feel connected to anything or the situation here. So again, as I mentioned, we have to name the epidemic. In May 2023, the Surgeon General officially declared loneliness as a public health epidemic. And in November, the World Health Organization followed it, calling it a global public health concern. Because loneliness just isn't a feeling, it's a crisis. And again, that experience comes when we are not getting our emotional needs met. It's different from isolation. Again, you can be surrounded by a room full of people and still feel deeply alone. Here are some numbers that might surprise you. Nearly half of American adults report feeling lonely, even before the pandemic and since. Hello, Renee. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining me today. Love me some Renee Spencer. And globally, 1 in 4 adults say they regularly feel lonely. The most affected group, young adults between the ages of 18 to 34, followed by those with lower incomes. Adults 65 and over actually report the lowest rates of loneliness. And so when I saw that, I thought, now that is interesting, that the group dealing most with loneliness are between the ages of 18 to 34. And to me, that reflects, and my best friend and I were talking about it, that reflects that there is no more that social connection in the community. And we'll get to that. Remember back in the day, I remember back in the day, you could go out and you could ride your bikes, you stay gone all day. You would, that's how I know Gay and Lynn and different people from parts of South Nashville, because I didn't just stay on Ferguson, even though I had wonderful friends on Ferguson. Man, I used to ride my bike all over South Nashville because there was a community and you knew people and you were able to get out and you were able to connect with those people. And today's society, for various reasons, don't have that connection. Their connections are usually with people that they've met online. If they're lucky, they may get to meet the person face to face, but normally their connections, you start dating somebody because you saw them on Instagram. Or you get in a relationship with somebody because they slid in your DM on Facebook or Snapchat or what's the other one? TikTok. So when you don't have that immediate connection, when you don't have that group of people that you connect with, you're going to feel lonely. So it's very surprising. It's not surprising that 18 to 34-year-olds feel the most sense of loneliness because they have the least amount of real connection, face-to-face connection. And again, people 65 and over have the least feeling of loneliness. I like to think because we have sustainable friends, but we also have come to realize as you get older, there comes this sense of self. And you realize that part of what I feel I'm responsible and I'm accountable for. So if I'm feeling lonely or disconnected, I need to get out. I need to join groups. I need to do things that are going to promote my societal interest. So, but we'll get to that. And here's something that stopped me in my tracks. Chronic loneliness increased the risk of premature death. It is comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Now think about that. Loneliness is comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It's linked to heart disease, stroke, dementia, depression, anxiety, and a weakened immune system. So not only is loneliness an emotional, subjective thing because you don't feel social connection, it becomes a physical. It's like smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Loneliness can lead to stroke, heart disease, dementia, anxiety, depression. So what is the cost of loneliness? Loneliness just doesn't hurt. It hollows. It makes us question our worth. It makes us shrink. It makes us pretend that we're fine when we're not. Again, loneliness is strongly correlated with anxiety and depression. Yes, Miss Gay, it is very stressful. Because when your soul doesn't feel like it has connection to someone, like I feel strong connection to everyone on this thread. I mean, here with me here today. And the best part about it is that I don't have to be in your face 24/7 to feel it. Renee knows I love her. She knows I do. And I know she loves me. And that connection is a deeper soul connection. I know that everyone, my cousins, my family, they love me. And that is a connection that you long for. When you don't have that type of connection, whether you talk to somebody, you can get lonely. And again, it makes us pretend that we're fine when we're not. And it causes what we in counseling or in coaching say is the loneliness loop. And the loneliness loop sits in where social disconnection causes weakening social skills, leading to lower self-esteem and avoiding further avoidance of social situations. So the loneliness loop is, so I'm lonely and I really don't talk to anybody. So now my social skills, which again, which is why a lot of 18 to 30-year-olds don't have that connection, because they really lack good social appropriateness skills, social skills. So you go in a public situation, now you feel goofy, or you feel awkward, you feel out of place, and so now it leads to your self-esteem dropping. So now I don't feel like I can connect, and now I don't feel like I'm seen. I feel like I'm goofy. I feel like they're talking about me. So now it makes you even further isolate, and so then you avoid social situations. So it's what we call the loneliness loop. You know anybody on that loneliness loop? Have you ever been on a loneliness loop? I have. Because you begin to question. Mine started because I was depressed. I was dealing with the loss of my parents. And so it caused me to just want to pull back and stay away from people. Then when I got in situations, I felt awkward. I felt like I felt like I didn't fit in. So it made me it go further away. It just becomes this loop. And so when we are feeling that way, it increases our feeling of stress, like Gay said. And it also has us have a negative perception. Something's wrong with me. Why don't people like me? Why can't people connect to me? It is exhausting to be unseen. And it's painful to feel like you don't belong. And it's dangerous to ache alone, to carry that ache alone. This is why it's not just a mental issue, it's a soul issue. So you're saying, well, how did we get here? How did we get to this epidemic of loneliness? We live in a hyper-connected world, yet we are more disconnected than ever. Technology and social media have replaced face-to-face connection. We are overworked, overstimulated, and undersupported. We've been taught to be self-sufficient, to hustle, to keep going. Yet that leaves us more fatigued and tired and lonely than we've ever been. You cannot out-hustle loneliness. You cannot out-hustle connectedness, because you can get a lot of things. You know, you hear that a lot about people. I have a nice house. I have this, I have that. But do you have connection? A lot of people would give all of that up just to have social connection. And so the rise of social media and online interactions have been linked to increased feelings of loneliness. This comparison of online lives can increase our own inadequacy and isolation. While technology can connect people, it often replaces a deeper in-person interactions with superficial engagement. Let me say that again. When you have these online connections, what it does is it's superficial engagement. You are talking to somebody online. You don't know them. Now, again, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can't meet someone and become friends with somebody online, but you don't know them. You don't know their mannerisms. I know how Renee laughs. I know my cousin Kamika's look when she looks a certain way. I know what that means without her having to say a word. I know my grandkids. I know what their facial expression looks like. You can't get that if you're just having relationships and connections with people on a computer. You're having to guess. And then that's where if you are already suffering from low self-esteem, this person puts up a picture, which a lot of times these people don't look like anything that the picture says it was. But then they put up a picture and then they're living this life online, and you're looking at that life and you're like, oh, I want to be like that. And it just further isolates you. So, yeah, so good morning, Sybil. Thank you for joining me. And you're right. It is so crucial. But we live in a world now where people don't value social connections. They don't. Remember, Sybil, we grew up in South Nashville. Remember, there was just something about being proud from being South Nashville. Just having, and not having, I'm going to say this and I'm going to get back to it. I was having this conversation with somebody yesterday, and we were talking about followers. They was like, oh, you have a lot of followers. And I said, yeah, no, I don't have 10,000 followers because I'm very particular about who I follow. And I'm very particular about who follows me. I don't want anybody following me that's going to be on my algorithm talking crazy and negative. And, so yeah, I could have more followers if I was willing to have any and everything come across my timeline. But my whole entire platform is to make people better. I don't want to see people talking about they bitter ex. I don't want to see that. So if that means I have less followers, but I have better content and I have better people engaging like I do now, I'll take that. Because numbers don't always mean connections. Just because you got 10,000 followers and people who say they like you doesn't mean that they like you. Some people jump in on your likes just so jump in your page just so they can criticize you. Increase mobility and work schedules. People move more frequently for work and other reasons, leading to separations from family, friends, and communities. A work productivity-focused culture leaves very little time for building and maintaining relationships. Do you know the average person between the ages of 18 to 34 is going to have at least 6-7 careers? While we got, in our age group, and I'm not comparing, because the job market is very different. But Renee's been on her job almost 30 years. I know people who've been with companies 10, 15. I was with 2 companies over 10 years. I mean, so, when you have that kind of longevity in a workplace, it also gives an opportunity to build real connections at that work, to have work friends. But if you're jumping from job to job, if you're moving from city to city, and again, I'm not hating. I'm not saying that if those are things you want to do, that you shouldn't do them. But when you make those kind of moves, make sure you're still staying connected to those social connections. When you move to a new city, connect with a church or a place of worship that you would like to go to. Connect with a local group, a chamber of commerce, something. Connect with people who want the same thing you want in every community that you're in. Again, the flexibility, because I work remote, the flexibility of a remote work hybrid schedule also blurs the lines between work and personal time, further eroding social time. Because how many of us have worked from home and technically you're off the clock, but you're still working? Because you're literally on 24/7. Societal shift, increasing individualism, declining participation in community organizations, and lack of accessible public spaces have all increased to the weakening of the social fabric. Man, I used to love going down Seville Park and playing ball all day. And your mama tell you, get up and get out and get gone. You get on that bike, you stay gone, you go play ball. There'd be all these activities for you to engage in. And again, there's still some of those. But if you have lower income, it's hard to participate because those fees have gone up. And a lot of the social spaces, and I'm not hating, but Sevier Park used to be so much more of a community organization. Now it kind of sort of feels like, well, if you belong, you can come in. It's like, but I was here way before. I mean, this is my neighborhood. But I feel like sometimes I do, when I go to Sevier Park, I feel like I'm a stranger in the neighborhood. So the lack of those gathering spaces also can add to that feeling of loneliness. And social stigma. Acknowledging feelings of loneliness can be embarrassing or shameful, preventing people from reaching out for help. So many people suffer in silence. They are, instead of saying, I'm lonely and I don't feel connected, I feel isolated, I feel alone, they feel like, well, I'm too ashamed to say that. So then that's when you find that online person, that connection, that community, who then further isolates you because you're now having communication with a bot. Or you're having communication or relationship with somebody who's non-existent. They're not really who they say they are. Or even if they are who they say they are, it's now you're having connection with somebody online. It's not a real connection. You don't know what they look like. Or even know, again, those mannerisms matter. Mannerisms matter. So what do? Let's start small. Let's start soulfully. And here's a few gentle invitations if you are feeling lonely. Reach out to one person today. Just one. No agenda, just connection. One of the things I do love is I have friends like Renee, and I have this group chat that I'm in. And sometimes it's just nice to jump in and tell everybody, hey, I love y'all. Now I will say that I got that from my daddy. That's one thing my daddy used to call people and play his harmonica for their birthday. Sometimes I just text people and say, hey, I love you. I was thinking about you. You crossed my mind. I don't want nothing. It's just a social connection. It's just a way to touch out and let somebody know that you matter to them. It doesn't mean you don't have to respond to it, but that's my way of staying socially connected. I just reach out now. I call it the pinch. I just want to come out. Let me pinch somebody today and let them know I love them. So today, reach out to one person, just one. No agenda, no connect, no other reason, just to say I love you. I'm just connected. Create a ritual of presence, a weekly check-in, a shared meal, a walk. That's what this is what my Chilling Spot chats are. They are a ritual of presence. Every week, every Friday, I'm going to be here. And we're going to check in. And then have times where you go to brunch with your friends, or you take a walk, enjoy nature, get out, smile at a stranger, have a conversation with somebody that you don't know. Do you know how much that means? I went to the grocery store, and me and a lady were having a deep conversation about the milk, because we were talking about how expensive groceries are. And we literally, I never met this woman, but we literally shared a moment, and then we hugged at the end because there was just that level of connection. Put your phone down during in-person time. I'm challenging everybody as we get to the holidays. Put your phone down. When you're sitting around the table having Thanksgiving, Christmas, holiday dinner, put the phone down. Do not text. You want to take a picture, that's fine, but put the phone down and talk. Have connection. Don't be scrolling on TikTok. Stay connected to the people in the room. I challenge you to do that this holiday season. Lastly, let somebody know that you love them. It doesn't take, again, you don't have to make long or extravagant gestures to somebody. Just reach out and say, I love you. You mean something to me. You value. Because again, that helps you connect, and you never know what that person is dealing with as well. But at the end of the day, our healing and our way to stop our loneliness starts here. It starts with us. It starts with you. Jump in the chat and let me know what you think about the epidemic of loneliness. Or if you are feeling lonely, reach out. Inbox me. I'm not saying this to be fun, but become a subscriber to my page. I offer 4 hours of life health coaching to all my subscribers. So and that's 30 minutes, an hour a week, 30 minutes, 2 times a week. So if you are lonely and you needing that, become a subscriber. That way you have somebody to talk to, or just join a group. Go sit in the park and talk to somebody. Be careful, but just get out of your comfort zone. We talked about that last week. Everything that you want is on the other side of that comfort zone. And so I want to, and again, if this spoke to you in any kind of way, I want you to share it. Connect, reach out, and let's be unlonely together. I want to give my 2 love notes because it's 7:30. My first love note goes to Lisa from Crazy Mom Creations. I know I speak about her a lot, but I just want to tell y'all how phenomenal she really is. She's a great mom. She's just active. She does a lot. And I don't know if every I tell her I appreciate her, but this is one of those social connections. It's somebody that I met online and became a follower, and I became a follower of hers, and she's amazing. And so I just want to let her know that I love her, I see her, and she's amazing. My second love note goes to another fellow South Nashville girl, Michelle Edmondson. Grew up together out South Side. Again, she's just been one of those people that has always been quietly around when I didn't, didn't even know I needed it. She would always be a cracker barrel when I was with my mama. She would always pat me on my back, and she would always tell me, Tracy, you're doing such a good job. She would see me being there, and she just never knew at those moments, particularly toward the end when it was, a little harder, to just the things, the words that she would say, the support she gave me. Michelle, I want you to know that meant a lot. Thank you, Mr. Francis. Thank you, Cousin Francis. I appreciate you. And here's the poem for today. It's from Morgan Richard Oliver, her book, One Small Whisper. People may not understand, see, or acknowledge the truth of who you are. You may always be the bad guy in their story, viewed through the lens of a lie, or unable to remove the wool from their eyes. That is an unfortunate truth in many of our lives. However, that should never stop us from being who we are and growing toward the people we were created to be. As long as you know, accept, love, and honor who you are, the tender energy from everyone else is simply a bonus. Embrace and unapologetically walk in your talents, truth, and testimony. Morgan Richard Oliver. And I want to thank y'all for joining me today. I want to thank you for joining me every week. I'm going to send out reminders. The Girlfriends Brunch with Tracy is going to be an on-site event. It's going to be November 1st. It's going to be amazing. Got some great things planned for that. Also, if you're in my group, Emotional Self-Care for Black Women, next Tuesday is our Coffee and Conversations. I love that group. It's going to be an opportunity. It's a safe and sacred space to just have conversations, but you must be part of that group. And it's, invitation only. Anybody just can't join. But if you're interested, send me let me know you'd like to join. But I'm looking forward to our next Coffee and Conversations. Great things to build connection. Great things we're trying to do is build connection. I hope everybody has a great weekend. If you're in town for TSU homecoming or any other games or anything like that, be safe. Welcome to Nashville, and I hope y'all have a great time while you're here. Everybody have an amazing and blessed Friday.